Good. All right, Coach Neu.
Yeah, and obviously, real quick here, just recapping the game against Kent State there on Saturday. Just great team effort by our guys. Proud of the way we finished the football game more than anything else. You know, defense delivered an outstanding performance from start to finish. Anytime you can hold any opponent to under 100 yards, that's a phenomenal day there. And so our guys were ready to go from the opening kickoff there. Did a great job all day long. We defensively, we were 11 out of 12 on third down. So, you know, to be able to limit them to one conversion there throughout the day, and just doing a great job, and really proud of that. And I think coming out after halftime, I thought the first half was just okay from an offensive standpoint, but really coming out in the second half there and challenging the guys at halftime to make sure that, you know, we got the ball coming out. Let's make sure that we get this second half started the right way. Let's establish a drive here. Let's go score a touchdown. And to be able to do that with the first three drives there of the second half, all leading to touchdowns, and then, you know, taking the ball with 5.5 minutes left and really putting the game away where they didn't have an opportunity to get the ball back. So proud of the effort overall. You know, obviously second half there we controlled the ball for 22 minutes to their 8, which obviously is a big deal when you can get that done. And, you know, to run for 300 yards, my hat is off to the guys up front. The guys in the trenches never get enough credit. Both offensive line and defensive line, and you know, Saturday it all started with both of those units, and you know, they wanted to make sure that they did their part to get the line of scrimmage established up front, and it's a big part of it. And certainly special teams, you know, the special teams units did a very solid job all day long. Jackson went out and delivered a couple big kicks again, and you know, it was a good day. But we're on to the next one now, and full speed ahead here on Miami. And really, they know us, we know them. Nothing else needs to really be said there, and focused on us having a great week of preparation here.
You mentioned like the battle of the trenches, you know, the offensive line and the defensive line. I feel like they have really interesting stories. Like with the offensive line, they dealt with some injuries throughout the year, and maybe at the beginning of the season, I remember some guys saying that they didn't feel like they were playing up to their potential. How have you seen like the offensive line develop throughout the season?
I think just staying the course more than anything else, and I think that speaks to, you know, obviously the job that Coach Johnson has done with that unit up there. We've had some moving parts. You know, we've been without Ethan Crow, who started the year out for center. You know, Brandon Malco stepped in, done a nice job, but injuries are part of the game, and I think guys have just done a great job staying the course. And really, once our identity kind of switched there going into that Toledo game, you know, we've got a lot of reps working on the same thing over and over in practice, and I think you see the confidence level, and I think guys know, you know, up front on the offensive line, man, that you know, our team's going to go the way that those guys go. And I think more than anything else, they've taken that to heart, and they've just gotten better each and every week as we've gone down the stretch here.
The quarterback like Kyle, who isn't passing as much as other quarterbacks, does the offensive line's role change at all?
No, there's going to be times throughout the course of the game where you're going to be in a drop back pass situation. And so no matter what the formula is, obviously each guy's still got to focus on doing his job, whether it's, you know, run game, whether it's a zone read game, whether it's an RPO game, whatever it is, those guys still got a big job to do up front, and it all starts with those guys. And again, they've just gotten stronger each and every week as the season's gone on.
I feel like with the defensive line, like you've seen the defense all around them, like the linebacker group and some of the secondary, gone through some changes, some injuries as well. But, you know, for the most part, the defensive line has kind of been consistent and the anchor of the defense. Do you feel like that's a fair assessment?
I agree. Yeah, you know, again, going back to when spring started, we felt strongly about the front seven on the defense. You know, obviously, certainly with that group of guys up front, because they're a very experienced group. Older group, guys that have played a lot of football in their college career. So we knew if we could keep that unit healthy, that was going to be a big key for us. We knew we had, going into it all, we had a couple new pieces, or new faces, if you will, on the back end. But that front seven, and particularly that group of guys up front, we've been fortunate, you know, all year long, and we're not done yet. So, but those guys do a good job too of being mature players that know how to take care of their body after games are over, and they know what the recovery process looks like, and they know what proper sleep and all that means to being able to play at a high level on Saturday. So they don't get enough credit. Those guys have done a great job, and they continue to bring it each and every week.
Yeah, and the defense overall has gotten a lot of pressure this year. I mean, particularly against Kent State as well.
Yep.
Has that just been a point of emphasis all season long?
Oh, I mean, anytime that you can get pressure up front and you can affect the quarterback, that's a big deal. Whether it's sacks, and obviously it was fun the other day to be able to get some sacks, tackles for loss, being able to get some hits on the QB, get their rhythm and their timing and their passing game off mark, make it challenging for them to, if the primary target's not open, does he have time to sit in the pocket and get to 2, get to 3? So being able to get some heat up front, it always starts with that. That's going to be something that, when you're good against a run, it's because the guys up front are doing their job. When you're good against a pass, it's because the guys up front are doing a good job of getting home, getting hits on the QB, getting sacks, and those guys have done a good job with that all year.
With a guy like Coop, who is getting close to 1,000 yards, that's where he said he wanted to be at the beginning of the season, but he also struggled a bit during the beginning of the season. How have you seen him develop this year in his first year here?
Yeah, and I think Coop will tell you the same thing I would tell you. What I'm most proud of with him is he's really doing a great job right now of attacking the practice field. I'm a big believer that, the way you attack the practice field all week long, that'll be who you are on Saturday. And so he's just worked harder and harder every week on the practice field. To his credit, being locked in, making sure that he understands that, on certain run plays, it's a guaranteed give to me. On certain run plays, it might not be, but he's doing a great job of being patient that way, taking what the defense is given, and he's been running hard, man, especially third, fourth quarter the other day, really running hard, really running through arm tackles and really doing a great job of taking care of the ball when he gets into a crowd. Some of those runs where he's finishing, they got 3 or 4 hats, and we're still moving or pushing the pocket. He's doing a good job of taking care of the ball. So been getting stronger as the year has gone on here, and obviously he's done a good job, to me, first and foremost, of really attacking the practice field and just making sure he's consistent each and every week and every day that way.
I guess just last thing for me, Miami's obviously already clinched their division, but correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's still a trophy game.
Yeah, it's a trophy game, and I expect them to come in here with all hands on deck, period. That's been a week and a half since they played last against Buffalo. Obviously, my congrats to them. They're having a great year. They've, to be able to clinch, a ticket to the MAC championship game against Toledo. Great year. Obviously, I was thinking back 3 weeks ago, they lost their starting quarterback in Brett Gabbert in the Toledo game, but all they've done is win three straight since that game. They've had to adjust their identity a little bit as well. We know Avion Smith obviously played against him in that game a year ago. He's coming off his best game against Buffalo, both running and passing, had his most efficient game as a passer in that game, was able to generate some plays down the field that were explosive plays. So we know them. They know us. They're going to be coming in here all hands on deck. It's going to be a physical football game. And in some ways, both teams are somewhat, both defenses are, both outstanding defensive football teams, and offensively both teams are playing with similar styles, if you will, at the quarterback position. So we know them, they know us. That's really all that needs to be said, and it's going to be a physical battle.
And Coach, one last game for some seniors at home. Do you think that's going to add some extra motivation for the team?
I would imagine. Obviously it does. It's not something I'm going to talk about all week long. The focus is still just on making sure that we have a great week of practice. We got Thanksgiving right smack in the middle of it, but we got to have a great week of practice here, and we're going to take advantage of tomorrow being the last day for school, so that when we get in here, there's an opportunity to take advantage of, whether it's a little bit more meeting time or a little bit more walkthrough time that perhaps we don't typically get. We'll just take advantage of that. But it all starts with just us. We got to have a great week of practice. I know everybody in here wants to go out the right way. I know everybody wants to finish the fight. Yes, we got several young men that'll be taking the field here for the final time on Saturday, but let's just focus on the process and, making sure we have a great week of preparation.
I didn't really think about Thanksgiving at first. Does that kind of throw a little loop for scheduling-wise?
Not really. I mean, obviously, the nice thing is we're a morning practice team, and Thursday's a holiday anyway, so even if we weren't, we could adjust it. But we'll be business as usual. We'll have a nice Thanksgiving meal together as a team on Wednesday night at 6 over here at the Alumni Building, where we'll all have a chance to be together, and then we'll be at it early Thursday like we always are. That's our walkthrough day, so it'll be nice to be able to get. And then if guys are close enough where they can be with family or close enough to get home, they'll have an opportunity to do that on Thursday. So it'll be business as usual for us, and our time Thursday morning will be similar to what our normal time is on Thursday, and then if the guys have somewhere close by to go, they'll be able to get that done.
And then last one for me, winning 3 out of the last 4. What do you think it kind of just says about the fight in this group?
Everything you just mentioned there. Just proud of the guys because you got to make a decision, man. Every one of them every day when you come in, it's all about your attitude and your effort. Each young man in here controls that, so I'm just proud of them for continuing to lay it on the line for each other. We talk about that a lot, and you have an opportunity to play the game, man, and you got a chance to put a uniform on. You want to make sure it represents everything you believe about the game of football, and I'm just proud of our guys for getting that done. And I turn on the tape, and I'm proud. I'm proud to see the way they attack the field in all phases, and to stay together on the sideline through adversity, because it happens every week, every game, and just proud of the fight. Speaks a lot about the character of the guys in this room.
Coach kind of mentioned it. Miami's defense has been really good. 10 points per game, I think, in conference play. What on film stands out about their defense?
They just don't give up anything easy. They're so consistent. They're going to make you earn everything. They've had a very stingy defense the last several years. So, again, we know them. We've seen them. They know us. But they just don't give up anything easy, and they're so consistent. They tackle extremely well as a football team. They're number 1 in our conference, and a lot of defensive categories. Obviously, you mentioned the points per game in conference being at 10. It's about 16 or 17 if you look at the whole body of work for the entire season. But very good against the run. Obviously, very good on third down, very good in the red zone. So they just make you earn it, make you earn everything. You don't see a lot of cheap, easy plays that are given up, and just speaks to guys doing their job. They do it over and over and over, and they got good players. They do a great job, and obviously you can see that they've had a special year, and their defense has had a big part to do with that.
Do you feel like the running game success against Kent State, which also had statistically some good things there, gives you guys more confidence heading into this matchup against a run defense? Yeah,
and obviously, we look back last year, and we were able to do some good things in the run game against them a year ago in that game. And so, no matter who the opponent is, we got to figure out a way. What's the most effective way for us to run the football against any team? And yes, these guys are certainly stingy and very good and very consistent week in, week out. But I credit our offensive staff that's upstairs grinding right now. You got to figure out ways to effectively run the football to give your football team the best chance. There's no team that can come out and just try to throw it all over the yard all day long. That's a tough task to be able to win football games that way. So I give our guys credit because they've worked tirelessly and explored every avenue possible to make sure that we're giving ourselves the best chance to be effective in the run game and get that established. And you talked about it, that yes, Kent State was good, but for our guys to rush for 300 yards the other day, and a lot of different guys got involved, not just Coop, with 25 carries for 140 yards, and Kyle with 15, 16 carries, and Vaughn stepped in, and so we got to continue with that.
And then last thing, kind of like what we were talking about on Saturday, the passing game just wasn't clicking. When you watch the tape, anything that was illuminating from kind of that?
Yeah, I think it can be fixed. It all starts with footwork. It really does when you're playing the quarterback position. If you can be consistent with your footwork, then you got a chance to be consistent with locating the ball. And it all starts with that. And, the first one, the third play of the game, it was press coverage on the outside on a go ball. And, it come down to the footwork. It's 3 and a hitch, and you're going to have a way better chance to be consistent that way. So he's just continuing to work on it. He knows it. So easily, when you talk about it in the day after the game and you attack the tape, he's just going to keep working at it. Our guys are going to keep doing their best from a route running standpoint out there on the perimeter, no matter what position it is. And we just keep working on it, and we keep believing, and we're gonna connect on those.
I've got one more. It's kind of off topic, but I'm just thinking back to Saturday when Marquez came in here. He brought his son with him, and I know that this team is based on family. There's multiple guys on the team with children. How does the team support those guys? And I guess I don't want to ask your view on it, but how does the team support them, and what's that like having kids around?
Just think about the responsibility that goes along with that. Not only are you a student, you're an athlete, but you're a dad. Obviously Marquez is going to come in here. Sidney Houston is going to come in here. Both those guys are dads, and great dads. So just proud of them because that's a lot of responsibility that falls on their shoulders, but the way they handle it and the way our guys rally around them, pretty awesome.
Have you been able to spend some time around like them and their children?
First time that I saw Madden the other day, and it was in passing when I came in, and so I do get to see some of them very briefly after a game is over, whether they're with him on the field or I see him in passing. But, you know, obviously through the week, these guys are, you know, full-time in here, full-time with their academics. And so, you know, in a lot of ways, you know, sometimes you're pulled away from your family. Sometimes you're pulled away from your kids. And to see those two young men handle that responsibility and to be as first class as they are and to be as good at dads as they are is pretty awesome.
Well, I guess like as a coach too, that's got to be like seeing them be good fathers like that. That's got to be just as gratifying as like seeing them have a good game on the field.
It is, and obviously, you know, I've had a chance to hear, obviously even going back to training camp when we do team building at the end, and each young man kind of gets up here and talks about what drives them in their life, and so you hear how important it is and how special it is to be a father. To hear them talk about it and then see those guys embody that is pretty special.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Kind of on the topic of defense and how well you guys have played, particularly against the run this year. Like, what's the pride that comes in like playing in the trenches and having success like that?
Really just, you know, football is a physical game, and the running aspect is the most physical part of the game. So, you know, that really tests and see who you are as a, you know, as men, as a team of men. You kind of think about not letting nobody just try to run the ball down you all game, Paul. So, you know, it's just like, when you think about the first two games especially, like I feel like we did a pretty good job against the run against those two SEC powerhouses. And just to have that mindset all game, like nobody's going to run the ball on us regardless of who it is. Like, a team has to get on track by running the ball, most teams. You know, you can't, if you're going to throw all game, we're going to be ready, we're going to blitz you all game. So if teams can't get the run game going, I feel like we have a way better chance of like keeping them on their toes and them keeping us on our toes. So
I believe you lead the team in sacks this year as well. How are you able to, like, with your reaction time, like, how are you able to distinguish so quickly between, like, a pass or a run play?
film study, that's really it. Just knowing a team's tendency, knowing the O-line's tendencies, just knowing, like, what they like to do in certain situations and what down. And, like you say, just practice throughout the week with the scout guys, giving amazing looks all week, just trying to get us as ready as possible for the prep. Just trying to emulate what they do as much as possible, even though I know it's kind of hard. But they do a great job with that. And just like you say, hours and hours of film study, just trying to find any little thing to take advantage of.
For sure. And then, obviously, this weekend, it's another trophy game. Feels like most of the games you guys have been playing in lately have been trophy games. Again, like, what's your approach going into those kind of games, and then also with it being your last game in college?
So we, like you said, we got the first time. We got a chance to do something we ain't never been done here, going 3-0 in trophy games. So honestly, just we kind of do it the same. I mean, we know it's a trophy game. We know it's important, especially just knowing it's our last game. But if you kind of like makes a moment bigger than what it is, you kind of like maybe over-prepare, and now you overthinking, and you kind of don't want to do that. So we just stay even. We know what's at stake. We've been knowing what's at stake all year since last year, the last game, losing by 1 point. So this is one of the games for sure that's been on the schedule. Like, we got to stay 1-0. You go 1 week at a time, but this definitely been one of those games you've been anticipating and couldn't wait to play because you know what's at stake, especially not the records per se they already clinched, but as far as us winning another trophy game and as far as us getting our get back from last year, especially just running our boat host last year. So we got a little sour taste in our mouth from there. And like you say, it's just a good old-fashioned rivalry. So we just stay the same and just know what's at stake.
Do you remember, like, the emotions that came with that game last year, like the loss that came with that?
Yeah, I do. Vividly, I cried. You know, it was tough, especially my first year here, first year FBS, able to even go to a bowl game and just have it snatched away like that. So it was tough, man. Like you say, it's been something, especially just knowing that our hopes this year are still very slim, even though with our record. So if we can make their record and put a more blemish on it and take that trophy at the same time, it'll do great for us.
And it seems like with that motivation, and then with it being your last game in college, like both of those together, do you feel like this might be like the most motivated you've been going into a game this year?
Kinda. I have probably say I have a little bit more edge, just knowing, like you say, it's my last game and it's the rivalry game. So, but I just kind of, like you try to say, stay even, because you can't get too heavy on one side, because you never know what could happen. And I'm a little superstitious, and I play Xbox 360. I got an old NCAA game, like '09, and before every game I play it. And just like the Friday before we leave to go out of town or whatever, just get a couple games and just visualize myself. I got the whole team on there, whole roster. So it's just something I do. And like you say, I just trying to keep all those things the same and keep them even killed, because I know it can get real emotional, especially with a game like this, especially knowing it's my last game period for Ball State. So, but I just doing everything I can to stay even killed about it.
How's your win-loss record on those NCAA games?
I mean, I'm only playing the computer right now because I only got 2 games on there, but I've been playing this forever. I had this game since I was like 13 years old, and I just been keeping it and just refurbishing the game, so it's been pretty good.
For sure.
So you create like the Ball State players on there? Or?
Yeah, since I have the older, it's not 14, the last one that came out, but I have I got almost all of them. So I just look at the rosters, create everybody, when I'm bored, and just take time and just I literally make our exact schedule. We played Georgia this year. We played so it's a unique experience. It just kind of take me back to being a kid again.
Gotcha. Miami, coach kind of said they lost their quarterback, but it's a guy you guys are familiar with, and they kind of run maybe a somewhat similar offense to what you guys are running. What do you see about their offense on film that kind of matchup wise with your defense?
I actually love it because, like you say, we both teams that like to run the ball, and we both have good run defenses. So just knowing that whoever wins that battle in the run game is going to eventually come on top, especially, like we say, with turnovers. And you don't know what the conditions going to be like, but I know it's going to be cold and a chance of snow, so you never know. But just knowing that those guys, like you say, they're in a good position right now in their season. They got a chance to go compete for a MAC championship. So just knowing that we got to come out fast and start hot and just show who we are, especially in the run game. Out the gate, just knowing that the most physical team is going to win this game.
You guys really, lately, I feel like, have had a lot of success on third down with defense. What has kind of been key to that, especially compared to the beginning of the season?
We've been winning a lot more on first and second downs, when we know that more heavy run downs for a lot of teams. So if you get a team behind the sticks, maybe they get 1 yard, 2 yard gain instead of a 6 yard or 7 yard gain on first down. You kind of set yourself up to be more predictable on third down. Like you say, teams more going to throw the ball more on 3rd and 7 than 3rd and 2. So you win first downs and get them behind the sticks, behind their schedule, then we can open the house and blitz them and do all kind of exotic stuff to help get home and create turnovers and fourth downs.
Does any of that have to do with the rotation up front? Because obviously you guys don't play every single down. Did you guys change that at all or figure out what works best throughout the year?
I mean, guys have been, finding their way on their own, but definitely the rotation helps keep guys fresh. That's a big thing about it, especially on third down. It was a couple third downs. You might not even see me on the field, even though I'm the best passer, but it's just the circumstances of the game and how the flow of it and how my energy level is from that first and second down of that drive. So just knowing that we got guys who can just step up and do the job the same way, no matter who's in the game, it just instills a lot of confidence up front, and just knowing that we got each other back. And the back end shows a lot of confidence. They more confident in their coverage because they know we're going to do our job up front.
In winning 3 out of the last 4, what do you think the team's identity has been during the stretch?
I feel like the team identity just been, togetherness. Just be there for each other. Just no matter what the circumstances is, we got to have each other. Everybody counted us out, like I said a couple weeks ago. It's us against the world, It just feel like nobody believes what we can do until they see it, and then they're like, oh. But we know who we were from the beginning, from week 1. We knew who we were from fall camp. We just, like you say, it feels good and to grow our confidence and just put it on tape for the last 4 weeks.
And going to your last game, you've only been here a couple of years, but what has your time at Ball State kind of meant to you?
It meant a lot. Like I say, it's probably been the most brotherhood I've felt in ever, probably. My high school, my senior year, I transferred my senior year to a different high school as well. So that was a real true football program kind of like to hear as far as the culture goes and the accountability part of it. And it's just knowing that I grew so much as a man outside of football since I've been here. It's just definitely, this makes me smile, honestly, just knowing that I've learned so much how to public speak, how to address my teammates, how to be a better leader and address different personalities in the locker room. Just knowing that the coaches believe in me and expecting me to be a leader and trusting me to be a leader, and these guys behind me just trust me to be a leader. So it's been nothing but good times and smiles here. Even though, like you say, it might not have been the best we wanted record-wise, but I wouldn't trade any of that for the world, honestly, just knowing that I've learned and overcame so much since I've been here. Yeah.
All right.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Sidney. Appreciate it. You have a good afternoon. Marquez. The man.
Doing good.
I don't have any stats. Marquez would probably have to correct me anyway.
Close to 1,000. Got that set.
Very true. I think Marquez is familiar with that one too. I'll throw it to you guys.
We'll lead off with that. Obviously, that's been a motivating factor for you all year. Do you feel like there's anything in particular that's like key for you to get where you need to be against Miami, or you just kind of trust in the process?
Both trust in the process, and I know that I'm going to have to be very disciplined and trust my eyes this week because they do have a very stout defense. I've been playing for a couple of years now, so respect to them.
Yeah, and you've played against them before, and you've had success against good run defenses as well. I mean, just like Kent State. What's your approach, I guess, knowing, like when you know you're going against a good rush defense, what's like your week look like heading into that?
Just, locking in a little bit more on the film, seeing what their tendencies are, seeing who plays what, and when they do certain plays that's familiar to what we do, what do the pieces on the field do, stuff like that.
Yeah. Obviously, you've credited the offensive line pretty much after every game this year to your success, and it feels like they've overcome a lot of challenges this year as far as like injuries go and some setbacks like that. How have you seen the offensive line and the running backs kind of grow together this year?
Just all of our durability. We stayed healthy through a lot, and we go through a lot, being in the trenches. So them just fighting through their little injuries that they have, and me doing the same to play every single week. I owe it to them to get the 1,000 yards because it's not just mine, it's theirs too, and they should be able to brag about that also.
For sure. And I think with this offense, it's interesting. A lot of RPOs. Kyle can run pretty much any given play. It's a very run-heavy offense. How do you stay locked in for every play, knowing that?
Easy. Knowing that it's a high chance to run the ball. I love to be locked in. That's what you love to do. So I never could get bored because I get the ball any play and oftenly. So I'm grateful for that.
Sure. Like you said, this is a really good defense you've been playing against for years, but what about them is so good against the run?
They got a linebacker number 15 that I'm going to battle this week. So respect to him. He makes a lot of tackles, and but we're going to see who the best 15 is on the field come Saturday. And they just fit their run fits well, and they train their backers well. They had a guy pace there, and they play kind of very physical and a little dirty too, but it's all good.
So this little battle of the number 15s is kind of how you're looking at it?
Yeah.
Can you kind of help, I guess, some people explain, obviously, most people don't play running back at college. When you're going against a good run defense like this, and it's kind of maybe a back and forth thing, how much throughout the game are you kind of evaluating how you need to run each time? Or are you changing your approach depending on what they're doing? Could be being more patient or hitting a hole harder, stuff like that?
Yeah, just based on the way the defense is aligned, and the way we come out on offense, in whatever set, they're going to line up a certain way. They're going to put the Sam in a certain place. If we have a certain crack back block with the tight end crossing the field, it's going to make the linebackers shift a certain way. So I'm just watching that through carries, and throughout the game, I'm just getting warmer and warmer because I'm starting to know what they're starting to do and how they're starting to fit the run. So you just got to keep It might not always be there in the beginning of the game, but if you stick with it, it's going to be big plays to be had.
You know, where did you kind of learn to be aware of all those things when playing?
Shout out to my coach at Kent State, Matthew Johnson. He did a lot for me through this process, and also Coach Heglinski has done a lot for me and teach me a lot. So just experience. I got a lot of experience on the field, in-game experience, even my freshman year. So just being on the field a lot of games, you're gonna get better and better every single game.
Sure. And then just last one, you know, obviously it's like the last game of the regular season. Just how are you kind of emotionally just feeling as I guess the year's coming to an end here?
I'm a little bit sad because I definitely wanted some more opportunities, but I'm also excited because these opportunities are, though few, they're trophy games, and they're games against my former team. They're games against, rivalry weeks and stuff like that. It's all meant to be, you know what I mean? So I just feel good about it.
And just like with this being your first year at Ball State and just with one game left, how would you describe your time at Ball State so far and some of the relationships you've made?
My time at Ball State has been a fun roller coaster, of highs and lows, because during the off season, I had the surgeries and stuff like that, so that was crazy. And then just learning the new offense, going through these games with just the coaches, the O-line, all of this stuff, and still able to accomplish goals and stuff like that is big time. And I just want to keep getting better and better and doing more and more this year at the end of this year into next year too.
Yeah. Just for some clarity, if you can disclose the information, I don't know if you can or not, but you mentioned some surgeries in the off season. What were those on or for?
My appendix, I had to get my appendix removed and my wisdom teeth, so that just stopped me from moving around for a little bit of time. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, I just wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, it wasn't. No, my knees and everything were all good. Don't worry about that at all.
I figured we would have heard about that.
Yeah.
I guess coming off of where the run had 300 yards, what do you think the run game as a whole learned from Kent last week?
Repeat that, please.
Just with 300 yards last week against Kent total for run, where do you think the running game learned from Kent State that you can use this week against Miami?
We learned that, we just got to stick with it at all times, and we just learned they just played certain blitzes and did a couple of schemes and stunts, so we learned how to pick those up as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. You have a great day.